Hey guys, I'm just here to say a few things before the football season starts. Specifically, if you play Fantasy Premier League, if you've been wondering why you're not exactly doing great at your mini leagues, then you should probably spend the next 3, 4, 5 minutes. I don't know how long I'm going to talk for. So, why are you struggling in your mini leagues? The first thing you need to take note of when trying to excel in FPL is your transfers. Basically, transfer hits are killing your game. You see all those -4s you take here and there, bringing in players, and usually you bring in a player, you sell one, and the one you sell ends up doing better than the one you brought in. That is not coincidence, that's just how it is. Except your player is injured or like it's a no-brainer, then I would really advise against making transfers for any sort of -4. 2 seasons ago, you couldn't even accumulate up to 5 free transfers. This season, you get 5 free transfers and you also get a bunch of free transfers when the AFCON starts. So there's really no excuse for that. Those -4s accumulated over 38 game weeks, they're really killing your point. Next thing I'm going to talk about is the fixture difficulty rating, the FDR ratings. You see those greens and reds you see when a player list comes out. Those things are killing your game because they're influencing your decision and they don't actually matter like that. Like it's just the algorithm making suggestions for you, but those suggestions do not in any way reflect real life because you'd see a red fixture like maybe Salah at Old Trafford. Like that is where Salah succeeds. Salah probably has more goals than appearances at Old Trafford. You see a fixture like maybe 5 seasons ago when Kun Aguero had Chelsea and Arsenal back to back, and he's got a hat trick in each of them. My point is the fixture difficulty rating is just a suggestion. You need to think for yourself. Don't let the algorithm think for you. If you look at a set of fixtures, you need to be able to decide for yourself, well, this is an easy game. This looks easy, but then these guys are fighting for relegation and they're going to pack up a low block, and players like Rashford might struggle because they need space in behind the defense. That is one thing you should probably consider. If possible, make your ratings yourself and just allow yourself some gumption, if that's a word. Next thing I'm going to point out is the transfer chips. Now, this point might be a little less relevant this season because they have given us double of everything, but I will still make it anyway. Those chips are not as important as you think. If anything, they are killing your game because most times you end up using 3 game weeks to build up the perfect bench boost game week. Your team still suffers for the next 3 game weeks. You might hit maybe a 150 or 160 point game week for the bench boost, but every other game week leading up to that has paid for it somehow. The same thing goes for like the triple captain. It's a nice chip, but then like when you keep thinking or when you keep trying to save it, or then it's affecting every other thing. So my advice would be, you know what, get rid of that chip as early as you can. Not really as early as you can, but don't overthink it. It's not even worth that many points. The triple captain, even if your player scores the most points in a single game week ever recorded, which is 32 points by Wayne Rooney, that would only give you 96 points if my math is correct. Now, which seems like a lot, but most times when you use your triple captain, every other person captain the player. So every other person has 64 points while you get 96 points, which just gives you an extra 32 points. It's not as big of a deal as we make it. So you're probably better off considering each game week for itself. You know, try and get as many points as possible per game week. Try and average like 70 to 80 points instead of trying to hit those high notes for like the double game weeks or things like that. Common mistake that people make, so you should probably definitely take notes of that. Then the last thing I would say is Fantasy Premier League has blown beyond anything I could imagine. I remember playing FPL since high school, and it's not as mainstream as it is now. So there's lots of information online and there's lots of like content and things that would sway your decision, but you need to remember that these people are just you, like they're just football fans like the two of us. So you need to be able to separate opinion from fact. If you're following like Twitter content creators and you're trying to get like information and stuff, it's nice because they keep you updated, but you need to be careful because when you keep listening to what they're saying, then you build up a fear of missing out, then you stop using your own thoughts. And if you've been playing Fantasy Premier League for up to like 5 seasons, then you're qualified to make your own decisions, and your decisions could probably pay off more than the things you see on the internet. I would say back yourself. Don't be afraid to take the risks, because in the end, you know, it's not logic, it's luck in the end. Finally, last thing I would say, I've had a couple of top 10K finishes since I started playing this game, and my best seasons have always come in those seasons where I was able to watch the games. So what I would say is do not ignore the eye test. This is probably the last tip for you. If you can, I know you're busy, and I know obviously life is lifing, but if you genuinely can, then watch the games. I'm not talking the 3-minute highlights. If you've got time on a Saturday and you're not doing anything, put on a Crystal Palace versus Aston Villa game and see what the players are doing. You'd see what the actual football is, and because the stats be lying. And basically that's it. So in summary, try and think for yourself. Remember that this is just a game. Personally, I don't play FPL for business. I play for fun. So I would always put fun at the forefront of my decision making, which is important. Don't make it too mechanical. If you've got a gut feeling that Amad Diallo is going to score a hat-trick against Southampton, then just follow it, If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But if it works, then you feel really good. So in the end, play the game. Make sure you're having fun while you're playing the game. And if you're playing the game right, then definitely you'll be up there amongst the top. I'm going to head out now. Thank you for listening.